movie review for you. This is the 1966 movie, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. This was the third in a trilogy of movies nicknamed spaghetti westerns. Why did they get that name? Well, it was a label that was attached by Hollywood to make it clear that they were nothing like Hollywood westerns. Hollywood westerns really were presented with characters who were clean, who were good, and it was very stage managed. Spaghetti westerns were very much more realistic, down to earth. The characters were rather dirty, rather considered to be rough and ready, and so that's how it came about. This movie, along with the other two, were directed by Sergio Leone, who, for me, this third one is the pinnacle of a genre that many felt had seen its best days. In the post-war decade of the 50s, it was, of course, hugely successful. But Leone did pay homage to some of those great directors, John Ford, John Sturges, and others, with a hypnotizing glimpse into evil and the life of a gunslinger, obsessed with acquiring cash in quantities by using his innate ability to shoot a gun straight with speed to immobilize the opponent. So we meet the three protagonists. Angel Eyes, played by Lee Van Cleef. He's regarded as the bad. Tuco, played by Eli Wallach, the ugly. And then we've got Blondie. He's the good, and he's played by Clint Eastwood. After a few frames, the viewer might wonder as to how Blondie is seen as the good, but more about that as the plot develops. But we'll certainly not quibble about the other two avatars, of bad and ugly. The plot's predictable. There's some gold coins buried in a grave at a Civil War cemetery, courtesy of one Frank Carson. The complication is that Carson is trying to avoid getting killed in the Civil War. Angel Eyes is in the Union Army. He's on his trail. He's an officer as well, but seems to be able to take lengthy periods away from the action to track down where Carson is. Or, initially, the man who took possession of the dough. He's a partner of Angel Eyes, and that's where the plot starts. Tuco and Blondie, however, they have their own scam going. Tuco is a career bandit, wanted almost everywhere for various crimes, including murder, robbery, theft, violence, and he's teamed up with Blondie to get the reward. And at the last second, a hotshot Blondie delivers Tuco's escape seconds before he succumbs to the rope. We get introduced to the Morricone score early on. It's absolutely wonderful. Tuco outwits three bounty hunters who are after him, and Blondie arrives in a small town and the kids hide. We also then see Van Cleef in a doorway. The occupant knows about the gold coins and information about who has it. Angel Eyes gets the information and cuts down the accomplice and the young son. He is ruthless. And there's that infamous cackle, very representative of Van Cleef as an actor, and the pointed eye contact. He then goes back and finds the man who's asked him to get the info, and he makes sure there's no witnesses. The tension captured in the house by Leone, however, is shown through the giving of food to Angel Eyes, and that scene is absolutely breathtaking, even though it's the last meal for the man who's in front of Angel Eyes. So he intends to get the gold, Angel Eyes, and he doesn't want any second prize. We then witness Blondie as he rescues Tuco from three bounty hunters, delivers him to the local sheriff, and springs his escape with an accurate shot from his rifle. We then realise the scam that's involved, but they have a very uneasy partnership. The reward money bonds them together. Wallet, clown-like really, as the rope is placed over his head. Absolutely fantastic acting by Wallet. And second time around, however, Blondie's accuracy is slightly off. It's a warning to Tuco about manners. They aren't really friends, just business partners. These sets of scenes are the basis of the introduction to the three, and Leone uses an avatar to define their position in the title. We then see Tuco alone, and then there's the spat with Blondie, that's after the spat with Blondie, and Tuco is in a gun shop. He manages to get to this small town, and he needs a gun. The scene in the gun shop is absolutely 5-star, as he checks all the guns and looking at what's the best for him. He then rearms himself with the gun owner quivering with tension, and you can guess what happens. He invites himself to take a free hat as well as a parting gift. Tuco and Blondie then reunite in less affable circumstances. We then witness a revenge package by Tuco involving a trip. It's a trip across the desert and all the pleasantries of the hot sun. The views of the sandscape reminded me a little of Lawrence of Arabia. It's breathtakingly dead and hot. This time it's in the deep south of America, of course, and we see Blondie being treated like vermin. And finally they spot a wagon, and it appears to have dead people in it. Blondie, of course, staggers towards the wagon. He's out of water, but Tuco gets in, and basically we find some dead Confederate soldiers. However, one is still alive, and that man just happens to be Frank Carson. He passes on some vital pieces of information to Tuco, but Tuco, desperate to keep the man alive, rushes to get some water, and then Blondie manages to get his ear to the man, who utters his last breath with the name on the grave where, of course, the gold coins are. So at that point, Tuco is now bonded together with Blondie again, with regard to information necessary to reap the rewards. A brief period where the two of them are held prisoners by the Union Army. Tuco, who's always full of himself, tries to offer Carson as his name. Angel Eyes happens to overhear this, and the next minute Tuco is in a hut being tortured for information with regard to what happened to Carson. Of course, eventually he cracks, but we witness this scene where outside the hut violins are playing to drown out the screams from inside the hut. It's an absolutely tremendous scene, and not to be missed. But of course, Tuco spills the beans about his info and also the importance of Blondie. So, of course, Angel Eyes is forced to bring Blondie over as well from being a prisoner. And so, conveniently, Blondie is now working with the other two. We see a brief detour when they escape, and they go and see Tuco's brother, who gives some background to us all about Tuco's family. There's a terrific scene after they leave where Tuco and Blondie share a few moments about family. Tuco referring to the same blood even though his brother absolutely hates him for Tuco's lifestyle. And then Blondie responds with a comment about a cigar butt as being equivalent to a bowl of soup, which basically sums up the deep lack of love held by the brother towards Tuco, much like when Blondie offers him the butt of his cigar. It's all very, very poignant and very powerful. We do, however, get nothing about Blondie. Is he a loner through and through? After Angel Eyes has got the information of Tuco, he basically asks one of his men to escort Tuco to a town for hanging. However, the wily Tuco manages to escape, of course, and we then find him in a town cleaning himself up in some bubble bath. This is an amazing scene when a previous outlaw who's after revenge appears in the doorway, and Tuco, with the gun under the water, managed to quickly eliminate him. However, the gunshot is heard by Blondie, who's also in that town, as are the army, and it quickly becomes evident that the two will be reunited, and they then move off to head towards the bridge where nearby this cemetery exists. And it's there that they come across the army, the Union Army, and we witness the full nightmare of war, this civil war. And we also witness the last moments of a captain's life who's pontificating about the strategic importance of the bridge for both Union and Confederate captains. Blondie latches onto this idea and feels that distraction is necessary, and he and Tuco then dynamite the bridge, which creates the necessary distraction for them to cross it and move off towards the cemetery. Of course, they also have to deal with the ever-advancing Angel Eyes, who's also got a group of men with him. But of course, this is absolutely easy peasy for Tuco and Blondie, and so we then come to the climax at the cemetery. Just prior to the cemetery finale, we also witness a very tender moment when Blondie hands his coat to a dying Confederate soldier, and it gives some inkling as to the type of man that Blondie is. He has a sort of sensitive part to his ruthless streak. Anyway, the cemetery is spotted, and frantically Tuco starts his chase to find the grave that, of course, Blondie is told has the gold coins in. And this frantic exchange then leads to Blondie giving Tuco a shovel and tells him to dig. A tremendous scene where Van Cleef joins them, and then we get towards the finale. And so to this wonderful finale. My apologies for some plot spoilers here, but it shouldn't really take away your enjoyment if you've never seen this. The finale mixes Morricone's score with those trumpets that just put a sort of sense of chill through your body that mesmerizes you with his direction. It's hypnotic. And then we get the combination of the close-ups of the face, the eyes, the hand near the gun holster, as the three protagonists spread out around a circle. And it's all played out like an operatic dance with the utmost respect, but with extreme prejudice. This scene can be replayed time and time again without any loss in tension. In fact, I watched it again yesterday on YouTube before writing this final part. It's part of cinema folklore, this. Witness the panoramic footage of the showdown with the cemetery in the background, and then sit back and feel the tension and the excitement build. Well, that's my review. If you want to know what happened, you've got to watch the movie. That's my review of this terrific movie, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly.